Hello everyone, welcome to Wicked West Books. My name is Meg West, and today we are going to be going through my brand new reading journal for the year of 2025. I bought this on Amazon. It was one of the cheaper ones that kind of fit the aesthetic that I was going for, and the paper, really thin. Bleeds really easily. Even the mild liners that I bought to do this journal with bleed through. So one of the risks you take when you buy a really cheap bullet journal off of Amazon. So I just have to find ways to deal with that as we go. Kestrel, as per usual, has joined us for this video. Every video. He hears me talking and he likes the attention. So I did try to film the setup for this journal, however, the video was corrupted basically immediately, so I just went ahead and set it all up and figured we would just do a flip through of it instead. It's already got a decent amount of thickness added to it from gluing in papers, but let's look at it. So the first thing that you see when you open it is just this little envelope that I made. In it is a bookmark that is the Copile system. This paper I got from Michael's. This paper I think I got from my mother. And the stamps I've just kind of collected. On the back here, we have the setup for the Copile system and just kind of how it works as far as the ratings go. I probably won't actually use this too much due to the fact that I'm also tracking it electronically, but I wanted to have it here just in case. I will also be using these pins to draw out my rating system this year instead of stars, just to be a little different and to kind of fit the aesthetic. So I watched many setups in prepping for setting up my journal, so I did what most people did, and I glued the first two pages together. It's that kind of little awkward, doesn't want to stay open page, so I went ahead and glued it to that open page. We have here the first setup, which is just the 2025 reading journal. I am not saying that I wrote down the wrong year, and that's why you have this weird piece of paper on top. I'm not saying that, but this is how I really wanted to just kind of set up the opening to the theme that I have throughout this book, which is going to be Victorian, but also Sherlock Holmes specific. So kind of murder, mystery, and library, and that kind of, it's not quite dark academia, but dark Victorian kind of air. So the first usable spread that we have set up here is the Shelfie. I am also using it for my reading tracker. We are tracking the way that I read these books. I did just get to fill in this yellow today because I finished a book on Audible today. I have not written the book in yet. There are 100 books on these shelves, and that is my kind of goal for the year. If I don't hit it, I'm not going to be super disappointed. I know that I will get close. In the past years, my reading average has been about 80 books, so we're going to see, without pushing myself too far, how this fills out throughout the year this year. And we'll see if we fill the whole thing in. If we don't, we don't. It was kind of hard to figure out when trying to make the books basically the same size, how to fit 100 books in here, but I did it. Of course, right after the reading tracker, we have a reading log. This was done with some Dutch doors. I do need to add 2 twisted crowns because immediately after One Dark Window, I needed to have it and read it. I matched the papers to the front opening page because this really is the aesthetic that I'm kind of going for the whole journal. I have a few pages through here for me to fill things out in, and hopefully I left myself enough space. I definitely tried. I saw Erin Smith do a setup of her mystery journal that she was giving away, and she said that you could use it per month, which was kind of my intention. My papers were a little bit bigger. Like I said, it bleeds. So much of this is split through here, so I cut and pasted my Dutch doors into here. It's a little bit of a mess, but that's okay. I can deal with that. You can see the bleed through on here, but it's okay. I'll deal with it. So this is a setup that I don't expect too many people other than me to have. This is the buddy reads that I do with my husband. Every month we take turns picking. He was born in January, I was born in August, so he gets the odd months and I get the even months. So I made sure that he had one side, I had the other, and then connected it with some red string to just kind of fit the murder mystery board aesthetic that I was thinking of. Wasn't sure what to do with this until I thought to do the standouts from the buddy reads. So at the end of the year, my husband will take one half of the page, I will take one half of the page, and we will pick our favorite book that was our choice, our favorite book that was the other person's choice, and we will just have the two standouts and see how they kind of compare to each other. Because while our tastes overlap on a lot of things like fantasy, pretty much everywhere else, they really don't. So it encourages us to read new things, try new things, and just kind of see things from the other person's perspective as far as books go. And then I made the decision that one wasn't enough. This is going to be the protagonist spread. This is going to be the best book of 2025. I had to color code it because I didn't plan it out super well. I just wanted to make it work. We do have some red string that will connect my covers here when this spread is completely done for the year. And yeah, we're going to count down to my favorite book, the protagonist of the year. We do have one spot that's a little different because I did also try to make it as symmetrical as possible. This one spot is so that I don't just have 3 books pitted for the final book. I wanted it to be even. So we're going to cash these out to the ends and then the final book to the center. I also did not color code this one, but we also have an antagonist spread for the year of 2021. I want to see what my lowest rated book is and kind of pit them together. I am not planning on reading a bad book every single month, but I do want to see what ends up in the spot by the end of the year. So after this antagonist spread, we have the Buzzword Challenge. The Buzzword Challenge was created by Lala from Books and Lala, and it is something that I've seen her do a couple times before. I've never decided to participate before this year, though, and when I went to decide to participate, she had 2 challenges. So we have the Buzzwords on this side, where I read books based on words in the title. And then on this side is the Buzzword Cover Challenge, where I read books based on what is printed on the cover. I decided to go for broke and just do both of them. I'm not going to be super by the rules with this one. I will maybe read them out of order or not necessarily quite within the month that they were contained because I do a lot of my reading by mood. But this will hopefully get me some brand new books to read in 2025. This is a blank page for now. This will be for the year in Aldea once G from Book Roast actually releases the year in Aldea, which should come within a couple of days. I don't know if it's actually going to be posted the same day this is, which is Wednesday, or maybe a couple days after it. But once G gives me my printouts, this is where they're going. It's a spot of honor. It is one of the readathons that I always participate in because I love the magical readathon. And the next spread is one that I'm super excited about for this year. It is the full Cosmere. This is all of the books that are out in Cosmere at the moment, and I am going to reread the entire Cosmere this year. There are 5 books on this list I haven't read. These last 4, the White Sands graphic novels, Winds and Truth, and I also haven't read Yumi yet, although I do own it from the Secret Projects collection. So I will be reading them in this order through this year just to get to Wind and Truth finally. I'm not in a super hurry on it because I know when the next book in the series comes out, but I do want to do it like a full reread, knowing everything that I do up to this point. As I said at the beginning, this is very Sherlock Holmes theme for the whole year is what I'm going with, and can't have really a Sherlock Holmes themed reading journal if you're not also going to reread Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes is one that I have read completely. I own this exact copy of the book. I'm going to put each of the bind-ups separately in here, and I have an idea with toe tags to kind of keep track of the novellas because there are so many of them, but I also have no idea how I'm going to use them because there's 2 short stories in the first novel, 12, 14, 13, 8, 13, and 15 short stories in each novella. So I'm unsure how I'm going to use my toe tags to keep track of it, but I'll figure something out along the way. And that ends my beginning of the book. This is what I have set up for January so far. I'm not exactly sure what kind of things I want to keep track of with this, other than the best book of the month, the worst book of the month. I have a few things penciled in. I want to find a way to use the calendar because I love putting them at the beginning spreads for all of my journals. I just almost never use it. That's one of the reasons it's so small on the page, is that because while I enjoy having it, I don't do too much in the actual calendar. This is all I have like permanently set in for the front of my book. I do have some plans for my books to do the reviews, 1/2 a page for each. And then I do have one review kind of set up. This setup is for One Last Breath by Jenny Myers Sane. It is a young adult, new adult-ish murder mystery. I went to the book signing for this book last year, and this newspaper clipping came with the book, and I wanted a way to keep it and use it, but I didn't also want to keep the random piece of paper. So I cut it all out and put it in here. I'll write my review in here later. This isn't meant to be, January, but I really liked the way that I used this. I do have one final spread all set up, and that's in the back of the book because I want to have like all year-end stats in the very back. So I am keeping track of my reading habits. I'm a little behind in filling this out. That's okay. I am also tracking it completely digitally. That way, when I do fall behind at this book, which I always do, I need to be able to have a way to catch it back up. So I'm also keeping a digital record of everything that I put into this book. And these are the toe tags that I kind of want to use for the Sherlock Holmes spread. And like I said, I will figure out how to do that later. So for this book, it's a yes or no kind of thing. If the circle or the square is not filled in, means I didn't read that day. If there is a line across it, that means I finished that book. And I am kind of color coding it to match my reading tracker from the beginning of the book. So I have 2 spots for Libby because I'm going to be reading a lot of library books this year. Libby and Audible tend to be my most read apps, and then I read physical books and less. I read ebooks, but I wanted to be able to do all of them on here. So that is it for the setup. I do have some videos planned to go into for the rest of the year, so hopefully I can keep this channel going. Kestrel will also be in videos this year. I figure I would start off talking about my favorite books that I've been getting into and some of the more popular books that I just refuse to read. And we'll start with that. So that's going to be it for this video. If you were greatly influenced by someone's reading journal, let me know below, or if you have your own video. I devoured so many videos of people setting up their reading journal for this year in preparation for setting up mine, and I hope it turned out okay. It's definitely going to be useful. I think I left out all of the spreads that I don't want to keep track of in here physically. I will be keeping track of a lot of stats through the Cawpile sheets setup that G has available for people, and we will put those digital stats at the back of the book at the end of the year once I've kept up with them all. So that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up and feel free to subscribe if you haven't done so already. I look forward to posting a video next week. Have a wicked day.